So today we're going to look at some more additional input projects. We're going to look at temperature level, we're going to look at acceleration again, and we're also going to look at the magnetic force. So if we look initially at the temperature level, the project we're going to look at is that if the B button is pressed, if the temperature is greater than 5, then we're going to show a happy face, otherwise we're going to show a sad face. So we're going to create a new project, and I'm going to get rid of the on start and the forever, and I'm just going to go to input here, and this time we're just going to choose the B button rather than the A button, and we're saying if the temperature, so I can just bring across an if statement again, and we're saying we're doing a comparison, so we're going to check if the temperature level is less than 5, sorry, if it's greater than 5, we're going to show a happy face, and if it's otherwise, we're just going to show a sad face. So if I go to input here, and again, let's find temperature. So temperature is here, so we're saying if temperature is greater than 5, then we're going to show an icon, which is a happy face. Otherwise, we're going to show an icon, which is a sad face. So let's test that, and if we press the B button now, you'll see we actually get on the emulator, we get a thermometer or emulator as well. So here this is showing as 21 degrees, and that's showing a happy face because 21 is greater than 5. If I bring this down, bring it down to 4 degrees, if we press the B button again, it's showing a sad face because 4 is obviously less than 5. If we bring it back up again and press B again, then it's showing a happy face, and you can take it way down to minus. So you can emulate on the emulator here, bring it back up again, and it'll show a happy face. So that's just a very simple thermometer, just using the temperature level on the microbit. Now again, you could use this maybe to check to see what's the temperature in the room, and if the temperature in your classroom gets above a certain value, then maybe you show something on the microbit, and that would be something that you could use to just check to see how are the levels going. So in this next project, we're looking at an acceleration project again, and this time on shake, if the X acceleration is greater than 0, then we show the LEDs lit to the right, and this is just, I suppose, an indication just to show on the microbit which way the acceleration, so is it to the right hand side or to the left hand side. So we create a new project again, and we'll get rid of on start and we'll get rid of forever, and here we can say on shake, and we're going to, so this again is quite similar to what we did the last time, so we're saying an if else, and this time what we're doing is we need a logic, so we need a comparison again. So here we're going for acceleration X. So I'll pull across acceleration X. So if it's greater than 0, then we're just going to show the LEDs. I'm just going to light everything on the right hand side. So you could do something like that. Otherwise, it's going to be less than or equal to 0. And if it's less than or equal to 0, then we want to show the LEDs on this side. And I can take out these ones here. So if I do a shake here, see, it goes like that. So again, now you'll notice here, again, because of the shake button up here in the right hand corner, I'm getting mostly an acceleration X of positive over here, but I can't press the shake button when I'm over here, so it really should be just showing this one, but because the shake button is on this side, I'll do a little video just showing it working on the microbit, and you'll see how it works. So that's just a very straightforward acceleration, and it's just very visual on the microbit which way the acceleration is going. So in this final project, we're going to look at the magnetic force. So at the start, we're going to set a Boolean value. So we're going to create a Boolean variable. And remember, Boolean can only be true or false. And then forever, we're going to check the magnetic force. So if the magnetic force is greater than 100 or less than minus 100, and that just means that there is a magnetic force somewhere in the vicinity of the microbit. Now, what I'm using for this is just a little fridge magnet, and I'm just moving it close to the microbit. So that's how I'm going to test this. Then we would set is switched to true, otherwise we will set is switched to false. And then once we have done that, when the A button is pressed, we check that Boolean variable, and if it's true, if it has been set to true, we show a happy face, otherwise we show a sad face. So remember, it's set to false at the start when the A button is pressed. If it's true, and that's if we have moved a magnet over it, then we're going to show a happy face, otherwise we're going to show a sad. So we're going to create a new project, and this time I'm going to keep both the onStart and the forever. And I'm going to make a variable, and I'm going to call it is switched. So if I click OK on that, then I'm going to set is switched to. Now if I go into logic here, I should be able to get a true here, and I can set is switched to true. So that makes it into a Boolean variable, but actually I should have set it to false at the start, because we're setting it at the start, we're setting it to false. So set is switched to false. And then what we're going to do is forever, we're going to check the magnetic force. So I'm going to go to forever here, and I'm going to go to logic. So we can check here if the magnetic force is greater than 100 or the magnetic force is less than. So I'm going to bring in an OR first. So come down here and bring in an OR. And then I'm going to go back to logic, and I'm going to say if it's greater than 100, and that really is just saying that there is a magnetic force in the vicinity of the microbit. So the magnetic force, if it's only between minus 100 to plus 100, it's a very weak magnetic force, so there's nothing really there. But if it's anything outside of that, then there is a magnet somewhere in the area. So I'm going to say greater than, and I'm going to go to input here, and I'm looking for magnetic force. Now I don't see it here, so it must be in more, and there it is there. So I'm just looking for the magnetic force X, and I'm saying if it's greater than 100, and then I'm just going to duplicate this, and I'm going to put it in over here. Not quite what I wanted to do, so I'm just going to bring the magnetic force here, and I'm going to say if the magnetic force is less than, that might be hard for you to see that, so I'll just put it in here. So if the magnetic force is greater than 100 or the magnetic force is less than minus 100. Now for those of you who are used to, who are, maybe more confident in your maths, you can use the absolute value, but I'm just going to, for the purpose of this, I'm just going to use greater than 100 or less than minus 100. Then we're setting is switched to true. And again, I can just flick here between true and false. Otherwise, I'm going to set it to false. So I'm just going to flick backwards and forwards. So as the magnet is moved near the microbit, it's going to change that Boolean variable between true and false. So it's going to flip it backwards and forwards as it goes. So that's the basic setup. And then what we need to do is when the A button is pressed, we need to check that Boolean variable to see if it's true or false. And depending on which value it is, we're going to use that to determine whether we show a happy face or a sad face. So if I go to logic again, I'm going to bring in true. So you'll see that in a lot of these projects, we're using the logic buttons quite a lot. So it's useful that you've seen the logic buttons already, because then you should be a little bit more comfortable with using them now. So here I'm going to bring in the equality, the equals, and I'm going to go to variables, and I'm going to say if is switched equals, I'll go to logic again, and I'll get the true. So come down here and find true. So if is switched is equal to true, then we want to show the icon happy face. Otherwise, So when there's a magnet nearby, it's going to show a happy face. Otherwise, it's going to show a sad face. So if there's no magnet nearby, it's going to show a sad face. So here, if I click the A button, so it's always going to show the sad face. Now, one of the things with the emulator doesn't help you with magnetic force at all. So you have to have your microbit for this one. So I will again include that in the little video which shows the tilt and also this magnetic force. So hopefully you found those projects useful for working through additional inputs.